Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Season 4, Episode 26, Season Finale, Twilight's Kingdom, Part 2, the episode in which they have the final confrontation with Tirek, and we have some very serious status quo alterations. I'm going to go ahead and start by reading the book, even though this entry should happen later, but I don't want to forget. Or maybe, you know what, here, I know what I'll do. I'll do this, put it like right here. It's really obvious. And I'll read it last, okay, because it should be read last. Where to begin? First, we have an interesting setup. Tirek doesn't know Twilight even exists, so naturally they bestow upon her the alicorn magic so that way she won't necessarily be the kind of thing that he will automatically know where they are and how to interact with them. I know, so take it. Don't worry, that was on purpose. So we also briefly see what Twilight looks like with having a celestial mane. Very briefly. It actually looks really cool. I like the look on it. And we also see each of the colors of the princesses in the ball of magic that they give to her. So that's nice. We then see two very nice touches very quickly. First, Discord immediately notices that the magic imbalance happened, which is a nice callback to the previous episode. After all, he can detect imbalances of magic, as we discussed last episode. And two, he doesn't tell Tirek. Oh, and I suppose three, you'll notice Tirek's voice has gotten a lot deeper, and, well, now he's a T-Rex. And that will be a thing for the rest of the episode. Gong, gong, gong. You know, the little shaking and the in the background will now be a thing for the rest of his appearance here, actually. So, naturally, Twilight has trouble actually working with her magic, which makes perfect sense. This is magic at a level she never had before. It is specific magics, spells, if you want to call it such a thing, that she's never had before, and it's far stronger than what she's used to. If anything, the speed with which she gets used to it is actually rather indicative of just how good she is with learning magic. Given enough time, she'd probably be doing this very, very well. Sidebar. I think Glimmer would actually do a better job in this exact moment than Twilight does. Now, I know that sounds like a strange thing to comment on, and we'll discuss the differences between Glimmer and Twilight in Season 6, actually, because that's not even going to be a thing for a while. But I've always found Glimmer to be one who has far more... she's far more intuitive. She's more of a sorceress, whereas Twilight is far more learned. You know, she's book knowledge. She's more of a wizard, as I like to compare the two. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I just wanted to comment on that, because it was something that was occurring to me as Twilight was trying to learn how to do all that. Anyways, so she's trying to figure out this, and she's just learning this thing, and this leads to an interesting scene. By the way, I'm going to absolutely gush about this episode because this is a purple. I'm just going to say that. This is a purple episode. I'm not sure if part 1 gets purple. We'll discuss that at the end, but this part is a purple episode. This is really, really good stuff. Discord reacts to Shining Armor's "How could you do this?" Now, notice I just say reacts. He doesn't go, "Aw," or Instead, there's just this, like, he's almost confused by the question. Like, why would you say that? Now, that's important. I want you to remember that. There's just this moment of, wait, what? Why would you... Please remember that, because that's going to come up later. Immediately, less than a second after Discord's like, huh? Tirek comes over and is like, hey, you know what you should do? You should go have fun. By all means, I won't distract you. Or I forget how he said it. Did I write it down? I won't stand in your way. Tirek immediately steps right back in to reassert control over Discord. He does this later, too. This then leads to him charging in and trying to steal the magic from the princesses and finding out that it's not there. And yeah, I like the lines under their eyes, too. There's a lot of very high-quality animation in this episode, by the way. Yeah, where is your magic? Immediate jump cut to Twilight bursting open the door on her home. This is the only place I'm going to specifically point this out, but this is what I mentally have thought of as Jurassic Park cinematography. Now, please let me explain that briefly. How many of you have seen the film Jurassic Park? I assume it's at least a couple of you. That is a cinematically brilliant film. While its plot does actually have quite a few holes, and there's actually several issues with regards to how the narrative goes through, the cinematography is brilliant. It's some of the best usage of editing, pacing in camera usage, and pacing in events I have ever seen in a film. One of the tricks they use is they'll prompt a question and then answer it with the very next scene. Where's Nedry? Immediate cut to Nedry driving up into the thing. Why did he turn off all the other things? Shows him actually opening the gate that should have been electrified. They do little stuff like that often. It's brilliant stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. I could gush about it, and I already did a rumination on it, so I'm not going to go over it. But the point is, we see some of that style of cinematography in this episode, and this is the most obvious example. Where is your magic? And there's Twilight with the magic. It's just little stuff like that. Twilight then makes a sonic boom as she's trying to fly, because she can superfly now, apparently. I'll talk more about the magical math in a minute. Let's save that for later, because I want to discuss that later. Naturally, her friends run after her, because of course they do. Why wouldn't they? And this is the only part of the whole episode I don't like. She doesn't tell her friends what's going on for what amounts to no reason. It literally exists for absolutely no reason. It's not like they needed to not be known. They have this scene, and then the next scene is Discord capturing them. So them not being told accomplished nothing. And I know Celestia says they will be a target. Yeah, no. That doesn't accomplish anything. No, it was a completely unnecessary tidbit, and it wasn't even for any purpose. Not even a bad purpose. It was just there for some reason. I have no idea why that was the part of the story. Moving on. Either way, we then see the first real insight into Tirek's cruelty. I know that sounds like a weird thing to comment on, but up until now, he's mostly been villainous in the sense of, oh yeah, the day-night cycle. I mostly talked about the day-night cycle thing with regards to her getting used to the magic. I don't have anything else to add to that. But yeah, Twilight's like, oh god, it's supposed to be daytime right now. There we go. And then the shining armor scene. So yeah, then he sends the princesses to hell. They're no risk to him. They're no threat to him. He has absolutely no reason to send them to be imprisoned in what is effectively hell. He just does so because screw them. I want you to remember that too. That kind of spite. That's another thing I want you to remember for discussion later. Then we see Discord who's messing with the things, and there's this thing. Oh, you mean us, right? Oh, of course I did. Here, let me give you this necklace, which totally means that we are absolutely super awesome together, right? We're totes besties. He doesn't say it like that. I've seen worse hells too. In Oblivion, yesterday. Either way, oh god, hang on. I've actually scrolled. I have so many notes. I scrolled past where I was supposed to be at. Why? So let's stop for a second. Why did Tirek still have the necklace? Now I'm gonna just open with a question. I have my own theory, but why do you think he still had that necklace? And you'll notice he is once again distracting Discord. Yes, no, this is a sign of true friendship, because this is what true friendship is. And remember that too. Keep it in mind. That's 3 things so far we have to keep in mind. I'm going to come back on all these points, I swear, unless I forgot, in which case I'm an idiot. I like that. Spite. Just pure spite. To be able to get back to his brothers, because if he wasn't stopped in this episode, there's I'd say a 99% chance that he would have gone after Scorpion and tried to, you know, revenge himself upon his worthless brother, right? So yeah, I could see that. That's actually not my theory, but I like that. I might replace that. So my theory was Pandaria. How many of you? Well, in World of Warcraft Pandaria, there's this group of people called the Pandarans. Now, they were brutally, horrifically oppressed by an evil, enslaving race called the Mogu. Okay, I'm just giving you the really, really surface-level lore here, because all you need to know is that the Mogu were eventually overthrown. Okay. The Pandarans then deliberately left all the Mogu statues around. Why? Now, what's funny is that was done on purpose. Why? Because that symbol of their oppression became a symbol of their victory. Yeah, it's kind of a Remember the Alamo thing. We won. We pushed back the Mogu, and we did it, and we have proof right there. They basically turned something that was a symbol of horribleness into a symbol of greatness. And I always kind of love that, if I'm being honest. And it's one of my favorite examples of doing that type of thing, which is why I use the Pandaria example. That was my theory. He keeps around this necklace because screw his brother. Because he's better than his brother. Because he knows he's better than his brother. So this worthless sign of friendship, of course, means nothing to him, but it's going to mean a lot when I use it as a symbol of my domination over him. That was what I was thinking. I do like the spite idea better, though. Either way, this then leads to him giving the thing to... This is the wrong song for this. Hang on. There we go. This leads to him giving the necklace to Discord as continued manipulation. Also, really quick side note. It's really, really minor, but I love Discord's bit. I do love the stylings of things. I suppose that's Rarity's influence. It's really minor, but that right there is something that, once again, I want you to remember, okay? Do me a favor and remember that. He also likes the fact that Tirek enjoys his new window panes. Remember that one, too. This is all going to come up, I swear. So, he then betrays... he's like, okay, yes, Twilight Sparkle, blah, 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 blah. This then leads immediately to him warping in and Fluttershy glomping him, which is adorable. And then he pulls in some cucumber sandwiches in the shape of butterflies, by the way. I don't know if you caught that. And then he tosses it there. So, first of all, you notice he actually remembered Spike. I just find something funny about the fact that given how often everyone seems to forget about Spike, Discord remembered Spike in this trap. But anyways, he even calls him out. This is when the first remorse point really happens. This is when that earlier thing comes back in. This is all my interpretation, but what I think happened is Discord was... You remember how he had that expression when Shining Armor was like, why would you do this? As I say, to me, that expression was not remorse. That expression was confusion. Like, well, of course I would turn on you. Why wouldn't I? Right? I mean, surely you saw this coming. This was expected. I mean, yeah, it was nice being friends for a little bit, but now I'm going to go ahead and turn on you because that's just the expected thing. That's how things should go, right? It's just so interesting the way he perceives it that way. Now, what's funny about this is that's either him legitimately not understanding friendship or, and I like this idea better, him, I forget what this is called in psychology, normalizing. What I mean by normalizing is, oh, it's okay if I do this to you. I don't have to feel bad about doing this because this is normal. Yeah, it's a form of rationalizing. I don't have to feel guilty here. This was expected. I don't have a choice, after all. You never really were my friend, so it's not like I have to feel bad about turning on you. Yeah, it's just my nature, right? This is how things go. I look at this and I see someone who is, like, legitimately a little bit confused about why anyone would think he would do anything else, and realizing he feels badly about it, and then justifying it and rationalizing it. Yeah, in every previous episode, they expected him to betray them, and he didn't. So now he's confused that they're shocked. Why? I don't understand. But then he realizes he actually feels bad about it as Fluttershy's crying in the thing. Yeah, the one person who believed in him. And now, you'll notice when Tirek steals their magic, he actually does, for the first time, show a legitimate, no really sign of remorse. He actually can't look at it. He turns away. He can't process that, because he actually does feel bad. And you can see how he's just kind of... He's still in that headspace of, I'm not really sure how to process this. Then Tirek makes his only mistake. It's the only mistake he makes in the whole of both episodes. He turns on Discord. There was no real reason for him to do that. He was stronger than Discord at this point, and he decides to betray him, which completely screws everything over and allows the good guys to eventually win against him. I suppose he couldn't have seen that, and Tirek literally doesn't understand friendship, but... So Tirek makes his one mistake. He turns on Discord. And everyone in chat saying the same thing, and I know. I'm going to talk about Tirek's motivations later, because I think that'll be more relevant to talk about later. But, yeah, he turns on Discord, and funnily enough, Discord is legitimately shocked that Tirek turned on him. I've heard some people comment on this before, but this makes perfect sense to me, because to me, it feels like Discord who is still trying to understand friendship, is still trying to comprehend this kind of thing, thought that because Tirek actually took action to demonstrate his friendship, that would then show that Tirek was actually his friend. That's how that works, right? Not understanding the difference between surface level and subsurface level. This is something that'll come up later as well. And so I think he actually legitimately thought this was a real pact that the two had, as Vigilant says in chat. And was like, wait, but you actually, I mean, the necklace! You gave me the necklace! And then Tirek is like, yeah, no, that thing was worthless, bro. AJ is, of course, the one who says, surely you saw this coming, and Discord's just like, in shock. I didn't. I really didn't. By the way, really slight note, I love the visualization of chaos magic as he drains it from Discord. Lines and patterns discordant. And colors. There's discordant colors. It's brilliant, brilliant. It's very, very brief. It's like a couple of seconds, but it's very well presented. So, now Discord is just... From this point until a decent part of the episode, Discord is completely disconsolate. I want you to remember that too. But let's move forward, because first, now we have the beginnings of the battle. Now I'm going to talk about some specific elements first. First and foremost, the treehouse is destroyed. I'm actually legitimately impressed they did this. I've seen modern, more serious, less aimed at kids shows that would be less willing to change the status quo like this. I know that's a minor thing to call out, but I'm not joking. I'm actually surprised that they managed to do that. So, books knocked off the shelves, possibly for the final time, right there. I know, right, Loner? How dare they do something really dumb and stupid in a really dumb and stupid way. So, and yeah, all those books, I pointed this out during Traja. I pointed out all those books that she bothered to save. Yeah, no, they're burnt. They're gone. Yeah, we also need to add a Ponyville damaged counter here for fairly obvious reasons. I'm only going to add 1 to this one because most of the battle goes outside Ponyville, but it definitely counts. There we go. So yeah, you'll notice Twilight at this point, yeah, she's straight up Berserker Barbarian attacks him. Now, DBZ reference, but I do actually like this fight. First and foremost, Tirek is astonishingly brute force. And I mean, I don't even mean that in the obvious, because you could say Twilight's being brute force as well, but she's actually not. He is the giant who smashes with his hand. She is the little person with the spear who's dodging the hits in order to hit him where he's weak. I'm not going to go over every single individual point, like her getting out of, refusing to directly confront him to hit him from the chest, or her deciding to warp above him as he's slamming her into a thing and smash him down to the ground. She actually tries to maneuver around him. All he does is constantly try to smash whatever's in front of him, which happens to be her or anything near her. It's actually interesting seeing the two's fighting style go back and forth. And yeah, get literally pummeling her through a mountain. Like, he is just completely brute forcing it. This, again, is very in character for Tirek, because you'll notice he does this first. Then, when it's clear that this fight isn't going anywhere, that's when he decides to talk his way through things. Remember, that's in character. That's how he's been portrayed. He has the brute force power, but whenever the brute force power doesn't work, that's when he starts being smart. But that's the priority. Brute force first, smart second. He prefers brute force. He prefers to just smash through whatever's in his way, and will only engage his brain if he has to. Notice he had the hostages ready to go since several scenes before. So he could have just started with that, but no, I could just beat her. Before I go any forwards, though, you notice the math that's presented here. I know, I talk about math a lot in this show. Shut up. Point being, all her power, which is all the Alicorn power, and all his power, which is all the ponies' power, is equal. This episode, perhaps unintentionally, established the math of magical balance. Yeah, exactly, Rascal. 4 Alicorns equals all the magic of Equestria, plus Discord's power. Plus Discord's power. That's important to note as well. So, Although, as I've said, I consider Discord part of Equestria, so I was considering that in that. But that's we're shown that equivalency, and that's also important too. I want you to remember that for a minute from now. So, where am I at? Hang on. So, brute force. There's the math. I'll get that in a second. Why bother? Yep. So then he decides to use the trickery. Notice everyone's like, no, don't betray, don't do it, don't give it up, we're not worth it, except for Discord. Discord, everyone's like, nah, and Discord in the background is just doing this. Barely moving, barely animated, not even saying a word. This is real remorse at this point. This is him finally understanding something. And yeah, John Delancey nails this. This is him finally understanding things that he'd only been distantly comprehending before. This is his fault. I want to be clear. I don't want to be too dismissive of him. But again, I love this because this is so nuanced in how it's portrayed. This is not someone who has suddenly become good because he decided to save his son from Emperor Palpatine. This is someone who has now recognized what he has been doing. He is broken by it. This is a concept I've talked about several times, and I don't know if this applies here, but I like to think it does. Discord, for all of what he is, has never been actually cruel. Mean, certainly. Mean-spirited. But cruelty is a whole other layer there. And the realization and acknowledgement and presentation of what's happened and how wrong he was has shown him and smashed him in the face, and he doesn't like it. There's a line. I'm skipping forward just slightly. There's a line. He turns to Fluttershy and just says, I'm sorry. And Fluttershy's response is, I know. That one scene has so much nuance to it. He is actually sorry. She doesn't forgive him. She does realize that he's actually sorry, but she can't even look at him. She looks away from him when he says that. Exactly, Lord Harrimont, and exactly what else. Discord has not seen this kind of suffering, and he has not seen how bad can get. And as usual, as what tends to happen, this is true in real life as well as in fiction, when you smash someone in the face with as bad can get, two things happen. One of two things. They get much better because they're a decent person at heart, or they get much worse because they're not. And we see what Discord is. We see that he is not that horrible of a person, that he is not a legitimately evil entity. And forgive me for gushing about this, but they do this brilliantly. And I love it. I love how they do this. I love how they show this. And yeah, Fluttershy believes that he's actually sorry, but you can't quite forgive that yet. And that's right. That's right. That's exactly right. I don't want to get too much into real life stuff, but I'm sure some of you in chat have had someone who's hurt you before and then actually been sorry for it. Now, you may eventually forgive them for that, but that takes time. That takes work, that takes effort, that takes distance, right? Anyways. So, Discord's line, I had magic, I had friendship, and now I have neither. And that, again, this is just reiterating my point. This is him realizing. This is him actually getting it and being like, damn. You've heard the phrase, right? You don't know what you've had till you lost. That is pretty much literally true here. Well, that's when you killed him, Sheepar. So, she then decides to have all of them be released, including Discord. Now, this is the right call. Only in this setting would this be the right call. She needs to establish her frequency. To go back to what we talked about last time, she needs to hit that frequency and have an object that is physically a manifestation that can only come into existence by the absolute presentation of her frequency, that of friendship. She had to reach out the hand to her enemy in order for that to manifest. And yet Tirek is just like, what? Why? And you notice Discord doesn't even like, he's like, oh, no, he's still down. He's just, thank you. Like, there's just this, You did that for me? You can almost hear it in his voice. Again, huge praise to John Delancey for just nailing this. Yeah, like I said, we skipped ahead a bit to the I'm sorry, because I wanted to talk about that. So this then leads to Tirek almost doubling in power and size, which again makes perfect sense. As we already established, all magic in Equestria, alicorns, so now he is literally twice as big, twice as strong, twice as boom. So this idea, I'm not going to get into it, Lord Elman. This idea, yeah, and then he just starts burning down Equestria because he can. Let's talk about motives. I said we'd talk about this one, so we'd come back to this one. What's Discord's motive? I suppose I should have an S there. See, yeah, Discord's here to have fun. Discord's here to be prankster, to make mayhem happen, yeah. Screw with things, to be free. Now, this has already been established before now, but this is re-established in this episode. Discord wants to have fun with someone else. Discord wants to share in the fun. Discord wants to share in the mayhem. Discord wants other people to laugh with him. This has been shown since his very first episode, if we're being blunt. All the way back at the beginning, especially his interaction with Pinkie Pie, but this has been very clearly reestablished every time he shows up. Tirek does not give a damn about anyone else. Tirek is actually the example of selfishness. He cares about himself, and he wants to do things because he wants to do things. That's it. You know, you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean too, right? You want to have something because you want to have it. You want to have that freedom to just say, I want that, and then to take it. And then just have that purely selfish thing. And this is exactly shown as Tirek just starts going about and just destroying the terrain and destroying the forest because he can, because he wants it, because he wants it. It is pure selfishness. Him at the top with no one else. This is a beautiful way to contrast Tirek and use Tirek to establish Discord and to use Discord to establish Tirek. This is a brilliant connector between these two characters here. So, look at my notes. So then we go to the chest, right? Now they go and they can interact with the chest, and they have the final thing in there. And this is the first time, and I'm not sure, this might actually be the only time, we finally see something in this setting that I've talked about this whole time. Concept magic. You're sure there's spells and there's different types of magic, but this is actually a concept. Literal, actual, no really, magic of friendship. Wah wah. The connecting threads between all of the magical entities unified in a singular source. And this is when rainbow power, it's actually, I looked it up, it's called rainbow power, shows up, and that all of them power up. And you'll notice there's a motif of the main theme of the show plays when they're all getting powered up, because of course it does. Friendship is magic, right? This, of course, then goes back to the math thing I mentioned earlier. And this is something I've hinted at many times when it comes to the whole pattern. All the magic in Equestria and all of the Alicorn magic combined is less than the concept magic of friendship, which effortlessly and easily overwhelms and dissects all the rest of the magic like that. And usually, I agree, Leons. Usually, the idea of like someone pulling out a MacGuffin at the last minute to beat the boss actually tends to irritate me, but I think this one was earned. I'm with this one, because this lines up perfectly with everything they've established up to this point, and this was built up to, right? If nothing else, even if we ignore the rest of the show, Season 4 has been building up to this point across the Rainbow episodes. And then it reaches it again, which is also important in its own right. For the record, I don't mind the Rainbow forms. Apparently they were an absolute nightmare to animate and took a lot of time and money, which is actually the reason why they didn't really use them before, or after this, excuse me. Except for that one time. I don't mind them. I wouldn't want to see them regularly. I think the celestial tail thing they did with Twilight really looks better, but, you know, whatever, preferences. So yeah, all that magic completely, utterly overwhelms Tirek, and they very effortlessly rip him apart. More or less literally. Ironically, yes, Mr. Red, because that's how that works. Thank goodness we do not have the ability to weaponize friendship. That would be terrible. Thank you very much, Ginger Overseer. Always appreciate. Thank you. So yeah, they rip him apart and take all his magic and push him all the way back down into his powerless form, lock him back in Tartarus. We see Cerberus briefly. And then all the magic is then redistributed. So we see an actual map. Yeah, they just put him in a cage in Tartarus. We see an actual map of Equestria. I think this might be the first time we've seen that in the show. I could be wrong about that. And they fly out and they, redistribute the magic to all the ponies that it's been taken from. The alicorns are freed. So if I sound like I'm gushing, it's because I am. For probably the first time in equestrian history, what we have is the pattern actually completing in one spot. All the frequencies are present, so the formula equals out to 0, which is what any good formula will equal out to. Balance itself out. And this is exactly what happens. The chest is balanced, all that power, all that connection, all those frequencies, all that magic recombines and actually manifests a completely new thing. The literal Castle of Friendship, whatever they actually call it. I forget the name, forgive me, but the Crystal Castle, right? Which is then manifested, which, for the record, I think it looks really cool, personally. And some of this will not actually be talked about until the next episode, but what we have here is a magical artifact which perfectly is attuned to the magical pattern of friendship, which allows it to now detect not only any imbalances in friendship, but specifically what is needed to correct that imbalance, which will be the main season-long arc of Season 5 once we get there. Again, we'll talk more about that next episode, which will be next week. But I love that because, again, that makes so much sense to me. Because all the frequencies were connected, we now have something that can act as a detector across the whole realm. And I love that so much, because it makes so much sense. Of course it does. It's the exact same idea behind why Discord can detect imbalance in magic, just in a different expression. And you'll notice they laid that one earlier, too. And one person can't do it, which makes perfect sense given what we're talking about here. Now, this is officially when Discord goes from a character... Yeah, I love that too, as I took that. This is officially when Discord goes from a character I like to a character I love. We'll see what I think of it in future episodes. Lord knows I love Discord, but it takes a lot to be the kind of person who falls and then actually wants to get better, to redeem themselves. That's actual redemption. Like I said, this is now, as of now, Discord is actually redeemed. Didn't happen back in like late season 3 or whenever it was. This is when this finally comes to pass, and he finally actually wants to be redeemed. Chooses to be redeemed because he wants to, because he has now seen how bad can get, and he wants to do and be better. So props on that son. I don't want to oversell him, but I mean, to be perfectly blunt, most people can't do that, so, you know. So then Discord gets dragged over for the group hug. Aww. And Discord doesn't get a throne. Ego. And then we see a song that plays, Let the Rainbow Remind You, which is actually a really cool song. It's short, but I love the song. And you'll notice that they have the cameos from all of the rainbow ponies from across the season. Once again, the advantage of animation, they don't have to bring those actors in and put makeup on them. They could just, put the animation up and don't have to have dialogue for them. Yeah, Coco Pomelo is adorable. We see Cheese Sandwich. Celestia gets a bouquet, which if you notice, each of the petals on each flower is one of the colors of the main 6. So that was kind of neat. And episode ends. Major status quo. Cut to credits. Now, And this is why I kept this thing right here. I'm going to go ahead and read this, which is supposed to be after this. Once again, the magic of friendship and the elements of harmony have proven to be the solution to the most challenging and horrible threats against Equestria. And while I've been scouring for hints in every book and scroll on where to find the keys to open the chest, it turns out the clues are right here in the Journal of Friendship. I didn't discover this on my own. Discord read our Journal of Friendship and highlighted specific entries. In each of them, my friends faced a difficult choice, but they remained true to themselves and embraced their element. In turn, this helped another pony make the right choice in her life. Because of this act, each of my friends was given an object or a key from the pony whose life they helped change. That meant 5 keys. We needed 6 to open the chest, but I hadn't yet been faced with my difficult choice where I had to embrace my element. That is until Tirek threatened Equestria and Discord betrayed us by joining forces with him. Because of that betrayal, Tirek was going to destroy all of Equestria and all my friends. When I had the choice of giving up all the combined alicorn magic of Celestial Luna Cadence and myself or freeing my friends, I chose my friends, including Discord, the one who caused all this with his betrayal of his friendship to us. By being a friend to Discord at a time when it wasn't easy, I embraced my element, the magic of friendship, and seeing this act of friendship, he gave me a medallion as a sign of his true friendship. With that final key, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Rarity, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, and I were able to open the chest and unleash the magic of friendship. Together we defeated Tirek and restored Equestria and all its ponies. The other journal... I'm reading too fast. The other issue I've been struggling with, journal, is who I am and what I'm supposed to do now that I'm Princess Twilight Sparkle. I mean, am I just supposed to smile and wave at every pony? Isn't there supposed to be more? Well, I'm happy to say that the answer is yes. When my friends and I unlocked the chest, a beautiful, sparkly, and colorful castle was revealed. Seriously, Rarity's beside herself. Through this experience, I proved the magic of friendship is always with me, and I have the power to spread that magic across Equestria. That is the role I meant to have in our world. It is the role I choose to have as the Princess of Friendship. What's wonderful is I don't have to take on this task alone. I will have my friends at my side, and our new role in Equestria may change a few things, but it won't change the most important thing, the magic of our friendship. And that's the end of the book. Season 4, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is awesome. Status quo change, lots of continuity, conclusion of multiple significant story arcs across an entire season, another major status quo change. Like, this is a big one. This is a really awesome finale here. It reminds me of Magical Mystery Cure and how much this is kind of designed. So I think part 2, and I already said this, absolutely gets a purple rating. What we need to decide is how we rate part 1, because we rate them separately. If you remember, where was it? Where the heck are those? Who wrote those episodes? There it is. Canterlot Wedding Part 1 and 2 were rated differently because Part 1 actually kind of sucked and Part 2 was really good. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards red for Part 1. It doesn't have quite the impact of Part 2, so I don't think it has the same approach as purple. But Part 2 wouldn't have the same impact if not for Part 1. Good setup, good payoff. I kind of lean towards red. And I see one person in chat agrees with me. Apparently I have no viewers all of a sudden. Look at my notes. I think that's it. I think that's it. This is a really good episode. I love this episode, and I love what they did with it. I am very curious what I will think of Season 5. So I've seen up to the... So like I said, this is the first episode that got me thinking about the setting. The nature and construction of the setting. And I also have to say that Season 4, I do like Season 4 quite a lot, but I've also rewatched Season 1 through 4 multiple times with my niece, right? She and I moved out, you know, a little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago now, and we kind of cut off at Season 5. Now, I, under my own power, watched up to Season 7, I think. It's whenever Star Swirl shows up. I forget the season. And I've watched that, but I've only watched that stuff once. So it is 7, I'm right. So as of Season 5, we are officially entering stuff that I'm not super familiar with. Because now we're entering into... You know, I'm vaguely familiar with some of this stuff, because I've seen this stuff before, but only casually and actually while I was exercising in almost every single case. So I'm very curious how Season 5 is going to line up when we get there. Now, in regards, Imperial Star Destroyer says he can't wrap his head around my system, and that's because my system is dumb and terrible. It's very simple. There's bad, below average, average, above average, good, and great. That's the system. Purple is at the top, then red, then orange, then yellow, then green, then blue. That's it. That's the system. Also, I can't wait to talk about Glimmer, because apparently everyone hates her. I've heard from you guys about this, but I've also heard from the fandom that Glimmer is one of those, what do they call it, the fan base breakers, right? Where half the people love and half the people hate. You know, Star Wars The Last Jedi. And I feel like we're going to walk into... I feel like that's going to be Glimmer. By memory, I like Glimmer quite a lot, but I can't really explain why for a while, because we need to get to Season 6 before I can actually explain that. That being said, I do remember very much loving the beginning of Season 5 and the end of Season 5. I mean, how often do I get to talk about suicide in an episode, or in a show like this one, right? Either way, I have some groceries to get. Tonight we will be doing the Lore Reloaded... Here, let me cut off Lore recording.